Have you ever had a moment where you held your breath and you go, things are either going to go extremely well or they're going to go extremely bad very, very quickly? Today is one of those decisive moments. Right now in the CNC build that I've been doing for the last couple months, I finally got my Y-axis put down, I've got my rails down, I got my ball screw down, I put a platform that's a temporary one. My final one will be wider than this by about 5 inches and a greater depth of 3 inches, but it's ready to roll. All my motors are hooked up. I created a board that held all my stepper motor driver. I went inside GRBL gerbil and I modified the parameters so that it corresponds hopefully to the right number of millimeters that I create in my CAD program. I went inside CAD, I created a temporary design file that I'm going to try to run, and to run it, I'm going to start by using a pin tool. So it's a moment of truth. So here goes nothing, or here goes everything. I don't know, let's cross our fingers. If things go well, I'll tell you what I did and how to set all your parameters. And if things go poorly, I'll tell you what I did wrong and what needs to be fixed. If it goes really, really well, I'll go ahead and put a router bit in this and I'll mount down a board and we'll do our first cut today. I set up a temporary board for my motor drivers. If you remove the green clips first that have all the wires hooked to them, you can easily put in the screws to mount your motor drivers up and it'll hold them securely. In an earlier video, I gave you all the switch settings, but in particular, we set switches 5, 6, 7, and 8 so that it correspond to 1600 pulses per revolution. That's going to be important because we're going to adjust the parameter inside GSender today so that our CNC moves the correct number of millimeters determined by this and also the ball screw lead. Remember on the stepper motor driver how we set those switches so that we had 1600 pulses per revolution? That's an important value because from that value we're going to be able to use the lead of our ball screw. Sometimes instead of calling it lead, they'll call it pitch. If it's a single thread, it's going to be equivalent. So if they don't give you a lead, but they give you a pitch, assume that the pitch is probably the lead. The lead is how far linearly it moves for one revolution of your ball screw. In this case, it's 5 millimeters. So a lead of 5 means if I twist my ball screw one complete turn, it will actually move that ball nut housing 5 millimeters forward or backward, depending upon which way we're turning. In our software in GSender, it asks us for how many pulses it takes to move 1 millimeter. To do is we have to take the number of pulses and we're going to divide by the lead. And when you do that, you end up with 320 steps per millimeter. And we're going to plug that into our software. Remember this, that ball screws, there's always a little bit of tolerance issues. So once you get these set with the mathematical approach, you can always go back and refine. So I'm going to show you where to find that parameter inside GSender. We're going to adjust it. I'll show you how to save it. I'm in GSender right now, and I'm going to take my mouse. I'm going to go ahead and go to the left-hand side to connect to machine. I've got my USB plugged into my Arduino, and you can see that it did connect right here. Go up to firmware. Up on the top right-hand side, click on it. Left click. And using your central scroll wheel of your mouse, you should be able to scroll down. And there's lots of parameters on here, but the one that we're really interested in today is we want to look at the X-axis travel, the Y-axis travel, and the Z-axis travel. And here's where we're going to use that number that we came up with before. Remember, we had 1600 divided by 5. That means each one of these should be 320, 320, 320. Just so that you can see what happens when we change it. I've already changed it, but as soon as you move it to something else, it will automatically have this apply new settings. But I'll go ahead and scoot it to 320, and I'm just going to make sure all 3 of these are on 320 because my stepper motor drivers were all set to that same number of pulses per revolution, and I know that my lead screws, the lead on each one of those ball nuts was 5, so 1600 divided by 5 gives me 320. If you use a different pulse, you would take the pulse divided by the lead, and this is the values you'd plug in. The other ones that you might want to change is you can change the X, Y, and Z maximum rate. I would definitely scoot those up, maybe 1500, 1500, and maybe 600. And then when you get all done, click Apply Settings. And just like that, it saves it onto the Arduino. It doesn't save it on the computer, it saves it on the Arduino. I'm gonna move my Y-axis down 20. And I'm gonna go 20 the other way, 20 to the right with my X, and I hold it down, and it's gonna just keep moving it to the right. I'm gonna hold the axes down, moves to the left. I'm gonna take my Z plus, go up. I'm gonna take my Z minus, go down. Poster board, throw a little tape down. I lower my Z axis so that my pin tool is touching the poster board. So 100 down. I'm gonna tell it to move 100 millimeters to the right. I'm just doing this with the jog controls. 100 millimeters up. And 100 millimeters to the left. If you look at this, 100 across, and we are indeed 100 this way. I've already zeroed out my X and Y and Z axis beforehand. I've got a little design that I'm gonna run and let you see this in action. And everything that we did with a pin, we could have just as easily done with a router bit. The axes are lined up, everything's working the way it should. I need to put a spoil board on here. So what we have right here is I've got my motor. I mounted it just like I mounted my other ones. I put some threaded inserts and then I bolted it down. It made life overcomplicated. It would have been much easier if I would have had a board originally that was just right to the length, but I had a piece on another board. And of course I still had to inset this. And once again, I had it a ½ millimeter deeper than I would have liked, so I shimmed it with some playing cards. Like this clamping method, it's an inexpensive way to go. I'm telling you, it's rock solid, and I think it's got still good airflow. If you wanted to, you could put a heat sink piece of metal here. I want to give you a few hints about mounting up your Y-axes on the front side, because the order in which you do things is going to make a tremendous difference on how hard it is for you. The first thing you always want to do is mount your ball nut with your BK and 12 blocks, get it squared up, get it set in place. And then what I did is I took a board of a reasonable width so that I got good support across the surface of my CNC, and I used it as a spacer block this way and this way. I measured that distance on this block and I put it in the OpenSCAD software that I gave you an early video. If you haven't ever seen that video, it's in the description, all the code, you just paste it in. It's an open source block of code that I created that will create a template, and that template will generate this plate right here as an SVG. Now, it's a large SVG, which can be a little bit tricky to print on a printer, but you can take that SVG to your local copy store and they will print out a large one. It'll probably cost you maybe 10 bucks or something on a large sheet of paper, but it'll save you a lot of headaches measuring out all these hole positions. Once you have them, then you can drill them out on your drill press. Then you're going to go back to your CNC and you're actually going to mount up the screws into the ball nut housing, and then you're going to have those rails underneath with the bearing blocks. Take the bearing blocks and screw them into your top board. then scoot the whole platform down so that the ball nut, shifts it all the way down to the front side. Put in one screw in each rail, and then take your ball screw and push it all the way to the back, and then put in another screw. And what that's done is that it's aligned everything for you perfectly so that it's perfectly parallel and you won't have binding issues. And that is by far the easiest way to go when you're trying to set these things. And then once you're happy with it and you know everything is working properly, you can always go put additional screws. But I would not put a ton of screws in on your rail until you do an initial check, make sure everything's lined up, and that way if something goes wrong, you have lots of other points that you can fix that rail down and get a good hold without having to shift it in a new position. So hopefully that helps. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mount up a board on the surface here, and I'm gonna give this a shot for a first carve. I think I'm just gonna use a little V-bit and cut a small design in something. But if you enjoyed this video, if you could hit like, or if you haven't subscribed, I would sure appreciate it. And I hope that you're excited to get your CNC running. I want to hear about it. There's an adrenaline rush when it all comes together. And I know a lot of you are, if you're not already there, you're really, really close. And this may give you the courage to press forward to finish up your CNC. So let me know if you managed to put it all together and you got it running. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I will try to get back to people. Just so you know, this series doesn't end today. There's some other things that we need to fix on here. The best is still yet to come. So this is my first carve with my CNC. I'm super, super pleased with how this turned out. When I surface the spoil board, this is going to come out even nicer. I'm really surprised that I didn't have more problems. I'm very, very, very pleased with how the CNC is running.